So hello again, Dimity. Welcome back.
Well, okay, good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Thank you again for agreeing to be on this slightly lopsided tape. That's a bit sideways. As I said before, it's only for professional assessment of my assessment skills, and it won't be used for any other purposes. Okay. And again, for the film, I will recap a fair bit of stuff and just go through each of the stages as we go along, if you don't mind. So today, again, we're here at Charlie's Coffee Express at your normal workplace. Got all your stuff here. You've started in your role now for a few weeks. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel like I've settled in. I think, my initial training's been fantastic and everyone's very inclusive. So
that's great.
I've had a few problems, but I've asked and they've helped out. And
Jenny's
amazing. Yeah. She's been really good.
That's fantastic. Oh, that sounds really good. And today, just to reiterate again, Jenny is the on-site manager. We report all hazards and risks to her, and evacuation procedure is directly out this door here to your right and around into the courtyard.
Yeah, look, everything, they're really complying well with WHS. There's everything, exits are signposted, there's first aid kits and manuals, and, they did a fantastic induction when I started.
That's so cool. Yeah,
okay. If I forget, I know where to look for the information.
That's great. That's really good. And you have, I guess, continued to demonstrate that keenness and eagerness and ability to work these systems in this morning's training, which we've whizzed through those 3 training sessions and then the review. And we also managed to squeeze in that first assessment instrument. So I observed you doing today's daily emails.
Yep.
And we've signed off on all the required criteria for that. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All the paperwork will be in the mail, or in the email. So now, for today, this session, we're going to move into the final assessment instrument, which, as you remember, is those series of 7 oral questions, which will just basically try to ascertain and assess your knowledge competency in this unit of BSB ITU, use digital technology to communicate remotely, which has been developed specifically for you in this role here.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of the information that we confirmed in last week's pre-assessment briefing still applies and is still valid. The assessment plan is still the current one that we're going to use today, and we'll be using the same instrument as you've been provided with previously.
Fantastic.
I've just given you an additional 15 minutes, even though you have no special needs and everything you need here. Just 15 minutes to gather some thoughts on that instrument would be useful. And I see you've got some notes there. That's great. So please remember to answer each of the questions as completely as you can.
Okay.
Some of them have a number of parts to those questions. I'll ask you each one separately. And use examples if you can where relevant. Maybe some of the things we've done in your work this morning.
Okay.
And if you answer each of those different criteria in each question, then you will receive a satisfactory result and achieve those competencies by meeting those requirements. But if I need a little bit more detail, I'll just prompt you with a little bit of further questioning. So I'll be writing down your answers as well on the questioning template, which I have here, and I'll be able to just check that off as well. So don't worry about notes or anything that I'm writing. Let me just make sure. Right, when you'll be given enough time to answer any questions, so and I can clarify anything you need. I'm here to support you and help you get through this.
If I get a little bit stuck, you can prompt me. That's okay. Yeah. That's allowed.
Yes, and you are also allowed to refer to your notes.
Oh, great! Yeah, I've been writing little notes as I go. I've been going along the last few weeks, just things I might need to discuss or clarify.
Well, I see you've done a bit of editing on some of Marco's original templates that he had for that, so that's really good.
Yeah.
So I see you've got these all out.
Yeah, I've got
here.
my
and a couple more.
my few checklists that I use when I start up and end the day.
Yeah.
And the things I need to remember to do when looking up my email and mail and who to forward things to, and
Yeah.
but as I said again, if I get stuck, Jenny's good, and Mario has also left a little. He's got a little book that he left for me, which is great.
Oh, good resource, eh?
It's a very good resource.
I'll have to have a good look through
Yeah,
that.
no, it's good. It's I checked through with Jenny that his documentation was good, so it's a good little quick checklist to make sure I've covered everything.
Fantastic. So you sound like we might be ready to go. Do you feel ready to do this assessment now?
Yeah, I'd like to give it a go.
Cool.
And as you say, if I don't sort of manage, we can reassess it down the track.
Yeah, certainly. It's probably best not to do it again today, but
I don't
can
mean
easily
today,
come back another day.
Yeah,
we can sort that out.
But I feel I know the basics.
Excellent.
Because I'm not new to this admin.
No, and as I said, you did really well during the training and that first assessment today too. So you feel pretty confident. You should be proud. As with the last assessment too, I'll just let you know that I will assess. I'll make the assessment decision based on the evidence which you provide for that assessment instrument today. If you've checked off on all of the components that are required, then I will let you know yes or no if you have met the competency requirements and whether you've passed. Then we'll go on from there. So I'll make that assessment decision straight after.
Oh, good, I'll know today.
Yeah,
that'll be good actually.
Yeah. Because we've got the assessment instrument actually has a comprehensive marking guide attached and some benchmark answers. So that was formulated with Charlie and Jenny and Marco and myself as well. So it's a really comprehensive thing.
So it's basically competent or not competent. You don't really fail, do you?
No, you don't. No, you do not.
You just need to meet criteria to pass sections.
As per that training package.
That you explained before. Yeah. Okay.
And that's exactly right. So once you sign off on all those things, you can be good to go.
Oh, right. I know what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
You've got the training package and it's all compartmentalised.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm competent in, say, 6 out of the 10, and I need to reassess, do I only just reassess the things that I'm not competent in, or do I do the whole lot again?
Well, we could probably just skip through, but we would recap the ones that you're not competent in. But we could just do that as a little bit of a review.
Oh, yeah, that'd be perfect.
And then you would look at those elements that you were missing before.
Perfect.
Which were outlined in the assessment requirements on that unit of competency detail.
Okay.
But so we would just recap those ones and then finish those off. Yes, the office pitch is doing his thing. All right, well, so we'll kick off with those questions then, Dimity.
Okay.
And I'm going to, you've managed to steal my pen.
Oh, sorry, I tend to do that.
I know, I admit.
I have a bit of a pen collection.
All right, so first question today is, what administrative or digital communication systems do you use here in your role as clerical assistant at Charlie's Coffee Express?
Okay, I use Microsoft Outlook. That's I use that all the time on the office computer.
Yep.
I usually, that's what I go into to check my emails.
Yeah, yep.
I open up, basically first thing in the morning I will start the computer and open up the computer and log into the emails to check what's come through overnight.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Yeah. So when you check emails, do you just, which folder do you look in? Do you just look in the one, inbox, and is there another folder that you better just check as well? Do you check another folder like the junk mail maybe? In case, or have you got a really good filter system at your...
There is there's like malware and a spam filter on the computer, but I do always check. Yeah.
But you haven't had much going through today?
No, it's been fantastic.
Excellent.
So I do check spam, because once in my private email at home I've missed a very important email, so it's just routine for me to check. Yeah, well, that's a good habit to get into, because sometimes I can imagine some of the marketing and promotional stuff is often tagged as spam. Yes, it can be.
And do you have any other aspects of your job? Like, I haven't included this either, but do you do any telephone or face-to-face customer interaction, or is it primarily your role is the digital?
No, I have a fairly general, besides the, looking after the emails and things, I do interact on the phone. I'm first port of call.
Yeah.
So I have to adopt a professional manner. I
Yeah.
usually state my name or the company's name first and then who I am.
Yes.
And often Charlie doesn't want to be disturbed, so I take notes, with the phone numbers for calls to be returned. And there's quite a few general inquiries that I'm trained to answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm the first. He tends to handle the more difficult. Customers. Oh, sorry. He tends to handle the more difficult customers, but I can deal with most things.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm.
And as you discussed before,
I meant to say too, we do get people coming through the front door, so sometimes
this is really bad. Okay, so sometimes face to face as well. I think I've lost it. Please excuse me. Sorry, the dog is now he's quiet. All right. Sorry. Thank you very much.
Sorry, it's my companion dog.
I know the companion animal is making funny sounds. All right. Well,
have I covered?
Yes, you have covered that. So you've covered the Microsoft Outlook. You've actually expanded more than was necessary for the question, which is fantastic. I've got more than enough examples down here, because obviously your role is quite defined here, and you only operate really within narrow parameters. But you have shown that you understand, and you obviously do apply above and beyond what you need. So that's wonderful.
Often that's the case in small companies where you need to multitask.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine, and I know that Jenny is here for the most part, but I also know eventually you'll be obviously doing things by yourself, so you step into different roles. Okay, moving along then. Question number 2, can you name some examples of documents which you might attach to a business email that you've done in your general day's work?
Oh, well, here at Charlie's, food-based business, there's often purchase orders that can be attached.
Yes.
Delivery dockets. We receive goods coming in.
Yep.
Invoices, of course.
Oh, yes, of course.
All these things are so important to not lose, so I have to be very organised. Bills and receipts. Often people requesting bookings for events.
Yes,
he tends to cater for large groups. He might book the place out for weddings or significant birthdays.
Yep.
So that requires quite a bit of liaison, often multiple emails. So I might have to generate separate folders.
That's fantastic, because that was the next part of the question, is how do you go about saving these attachments or actually attaching documents to it, and how do you store that in the system?
In the system itself, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I have two ways. I like the technology. I do store them in folders.
Yes.
But I do have a physical folder where if it looks like a booking's going ahead, I'll print out all the relevant documentation.
Wonderful, yep.
And I keep it aside in the filing cabinet, because often, Charlie will come in at different times and he's not that technically minded. He likes to see a hard copy.
Just whip it out.
Just whips out the folder and we can see the latest email on top, and you can go through and see any changes.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's really cool. And so that's really great. You save those attachments and you can save them into the files on the computer, and you have the hard copies as well. Now, when you attach a document to an email, can you outline the process of how you attach a document to the email? Oh, well.
On my computer, on my system, if I need to attach, I just click on the paperclip icon.
Yep.
Which is the bottom of my email.
Yeah.
And I attach the right file, and I look for the file in my storage, depending whether it's photographic or a PDF file. I make sure I'm attaching the right thing, because there's nothing more embarrassing than attaching the wrong image.
Yes, yeah.
And I press attach, and I will often double check. Excellent. I will go back into that before sending and check that I have got the right information.
As you say, that's quite important to
Quite
make
important,
sure
yes. So,
that you get there.
and then, so to save, if I need to save it, I'll open the attachment, then go and save as.
Yep.
Under file and name it with the right details.
Yeah, so you can find it.
And I've got to be very careful that I save it in the right file. You know, it's really important if I'm sick or unwell and there's a temp in, that they can actually find the information if they need it.
So it's got a name which
So
you
it's
can
got
identify.
a name that's appropriate.
Excellent. Excellent. That has very, very comprehensively covered those criteria.
Yeah.
You're doing really well. You know, you obviously have stacks of knowledge and it's wonderful to hear it. So, what are 3 important things to check? Just moving on to the next question. What are 3 important things to check before you send your email?
Oh, well, quite commonly, one of the things I find is sometimes someone will send you an email with a peculiar heading like Joe's dinner, and I try and be a bit more professional and have a more appropriate subject
field. Yep.
Subject field, because subject field is very important, because often those emails can go backwards and forwards and there might be more than one Joe, so I try and put the date that they're trying to have the venue and other things that are appropriate, so that I can retrieve the email. So I make sure I have the subject field in, and of course the recipient. And if it's going to multiple recipients, and I don't really want them all to know each other, I do a blind copy.
That's really good. Yes, that's fantastic. We'll touch on that later on as well. But
yeah, so
excellent.
I do a blind copy, and the other thing I always make sure of is I delete, if it's a return email, I delete the previous message.
Up the top. Wonderful.
Yeah,
that's attention to detail.
Well, this is in case there's information that someone in the blind copy shouldn't be seeing.
Wonderful.
I just check, I need to make sure if it's a group email that everyone is included in the copy.
Yep, great.
Sometimes email addresses can bounce back, so I have to make sure I've got, the
right ones.
Computer system's so pedantic, you can have a dot in the wrong spot and it won't go, so make sure I have actually got the right email addresses for everyone.
Yeah, excellent.
And I've got checklists that I use. So, I have, auto checklists and finishing email checklists and group email. So I refer to my documentation.
Yeah, right. So you found those tools useful?
I found them very useful. I mean,
especially in the beginning, I suppose.
In the beginning, yes. Yeah. So, but, when you first start somewhere, everyone has different procedures. So it's good to know what's required.
Yep, so that it's actually for this role rather than...
Yeah.
Not that your previous experience is not relevant.
No, often things overlap, but different jobs require different things, and Charlie's fairly particular about certain things, so I've got what he requires.
Yep, wonderful.
Of course, grammar and spelling is important.
Spell check, that's a big one.
So, use spell check, although my English, I've got a very good grasp of English. And
clearly, and I see you have your
dictionary refer to the dictionary, and
with thesauruses over there.
I like using synonyms instead of using the same word about 60 times in the email.
Yeah, boring.
Which can make a poor reading, and I try and make it concise. And I also, because it's not a private email, it's not a personal email, I make sure that the auto signature is correct.
Yeah, right. For the Charlie's Coffee Express.
Charlie's Coffee Express, yes.
If it's do you have different auto signatures you use, like yours or Jenny's? Do you ever send messages out with Charlie's at the bottom, or is it just...
Usually it has Charlie's, the automatic default is Charlie's, but sometimes I have to fill in for Jenny.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's an electronic signature for her.
So you move over to that one.
So I move over to that one, yeah. Just because her role is different.
Excellent. Then we know who it's coming from. Wonderful. That's, again, an exceptionally comprehensive answer. And we shall move on to the next question.
Great.
So, question 4. Could you please identify some different types of emails? and how you determine the priority of these, of your day's tasks?
Well, in any one day, I have a set, like a routine of things I need to do, of course, as I said, immediately check emails and things. But if there is something exceptional to be done that day, Jenny or Charlie will usually set a priority list, or I will double check with them what is urgent.
Yep.
I do the orders and the bookings,
Yep.
Incoming and outcoming receipts,
Yep.
and invoices.
Yep.
And if it's quiet, Charlie and Jenny both like me to do I've started looking in, now that they're comfortable with me, promotions and marketing.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I might send out information, to the local, high schools, teacher functions, and we cater for things.
Yeah. Get some new bookings that
new
way.
bookings, and to certain clubs in town that, often use us as a resource when they're very busy.
Yeah. That sounds great.
I've got I use Google Calendar.
Down here.
Because, part of our thing is catering as well. So I need to be aware of the dates and events coming up, because sometimes we need to order more hospitality equipment, like bain-maries and things, because we don't always require them.
Yeah.
We've got another
Just
storage
extra,
venue, and we get access to those things.
All that logistics stuff, I
Just
can
make
imagine
sure
takes
everything's been tested and in working order.
Yep. All right, wonderful. Now, the second part of that question is about privacy and confidentiality, which you basically have answered in the previous question, including putting other
blind copies
with the emails, and ensuring that you've indicated this morning that you understand the different classifications, and obviously Jenny and Charlie are the people to check for that. But if you get, do you get many priority emails? Or
occasionally there are priority emails, and I will address them first.
Yep.
And Charlie has a set. Some things he sets his priority or urgency to bookings.
Yeah. And as you say, they're set by Jenny and Charlie.
Yeah, they're set in place by them. So
and periodically changed if you need to.
They also require that if I leave my desk, I shut down my email so no one coming in can get access.
That's a great, righto.
So there's privacy of information. I don't leave any files out on the desk.
Yep.
If I leave to go to lunch, I have to lock the filing cabinet.
Yep.
Jenny and Charlie have their own keys.
Yep, wonderful.
And I turn the computer off. I back up and turn the computer off.
Backup's a good thing. We lose stuff pretty easily.
Yes.
That's fantastic. You've absolutely covered off every single requirement criteria for that question as well. So question number 5, there's only 3 to go. How can you sort your emails? And the second part is, how do you get rid of ones that you don't want?
Okay. Well, emails, there's a search button.
Yep.
So sometimes things can be sorted through that search button, under topics or under sender, or you can sort by date. Yeah, action required.
Yep.
Sometimes priority settings. I'll look for the last lot of urgent emails and see that everything's been attended.
Yeah, right. Follow up, that's really important.
And emails, I regularly delete emails that are no longer relevant, or booking inquiries that have come to nothing.
Yes.
I do sometimes though take with those booking inquiries, I will keep a list of people and names, organisations that have made inquiries, and part of the promotional thing is every 3 or 4 months I might ring them to see if they've got any catering requirements, just to say we've got a special on or something.
Yeah, I know. Excellent. Forward thinking.
Try and increase our business. It's pretty important to send the right information to the right people.
Yeah.
So making sure the list of people on the email are who actually require that bit of information.
Yeah, right.
I've made that mistake once before. I sent the wrong group of people the listing, and Jenny pointed out that luckily it was.
What did you do?
Well, I sent an apology and I resent the email.
Yeah. Yep. Excellent.
Just said this email was sent to you with, by mistake. No problems.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And what about if you accidentally delete the wrong email? How then? Do you know a way in which you can? Is it permanently gone from the system, or can you go somewhere
it's not
and find?
Permanently gone. You can undo a deletion if you do it straight away.
Yep.
There's an undo button.
Yep.
And I can retrieve it from the trash.
Yeah, excellent.
And move it back into the inbox.
Move back into the inbox. Excellent. And same with the junk mail, I suppose.
Yeah, same with junk mail.
Yep.
If I've accidentally deleted things.
Yep. Wonderful. So that's question 5 completed. Question 6. Can you give 3 examples, please, of work emails that may need to be sent to groups of people, and how you identify those groups, which we've really talked about already. You've chosen your groups and explained to send an email.
Oh, well, one thing I probably haven't covered that I do send out occasionally is staff circulars.
Oh, yeah, staff circulars.
So sometimes Charlie has not a complaint, he's received feedback from customers or clients.
Yeah.
And he, rather than addressing everyone individually, he just gives me a notice or an update, and I'll send them out to the staff.
Yeah.
If they've got further queries, they usually address him personally.
Mm-hmm.
So that includes things like news updates. Sometimes we get new equipment, or occasionally we use an alternate venue if things go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just to make sure everyone knows, because most people are required that work there to check their emails first up, so there's no excuse for not knowing the information.
Yes, it's painful, isn't it, when people never respond to your emails?
Yeah, so it's documented, so they can't say they didn't get it, whereas if you talk to them personally, they can say they didn't. Well, anyway.
It pays to have a little bit of a record sometimes.
Pays to have, to double up.
Yeah.
Back it up with a bit of paperwork.
Excellent. So that was question 6.
So I guess business bookings will often go to multiple people.
Yes.
The other thing is, say for instance, in times of holidays, we have different hours.
Yeah, right.
So we often send that out to our clients, or the recent coronavirus.
Yeah, that's been a bit...
that has really sent emails going backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
My job is to send the local updates by the state health authorities on what's required in the hospitality industry, because they're changing numbers and things all the time.
Yeah.
We have to know what to deal with, so yeah.
That's really good, and keeping abreast of that, obviously that requires to go to a whole lot of people on a very regular basis at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. That's very comprehensive answer for that question as well. Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, to different ways to deal with different adverse situations. You've obviously displayed experience in dealing with little contingencies for predictable challenges or unforeseeable circumstances.
The advantage of an older worker. Been there, done that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's great. It's great that you can bring that. And I know this is now a really good team of people here, so it's good to hear you're really fitting in. So this is the very, very lucky last question.
Yep.
And that is, what tools and resources can you use to help you create and send an email here in your workplace?
Well, I've got in my Microsoft Outlook system, I actually have some templates that are set up and designed for various things, like when we do bookings, group bookings, there's certain things that are required, like deposits and things.
Yeah, so
it's fairly standard. So it's got the tabs, it's got all that stuff. So instead of retyping everything, there's a template there. I can send an attachment which has, maybe there's 3 or 4 pages, which is what's
that's great. And attachments like that.
Attachments like that, a little portfolio for people that are interested,
Yeah.
who to contact about various aspects of the function. Of course, I think I pointed out before, I've got my checklists here.
Checklists, yep. Marco's ones which you've edited for yourself.
Yeah,
That's
which
great.
I've done for myself. I've got my trusty dictionary. I've got, you know, things like my admin policies, and I've got, you know, folders here which I can access, both hard copy and on the computer.
Yeah.
That I access for various things, and the, you know, at a last resort, if I'm not certain, I always check with Jenny or Charlie because they have the experience.
Yeah.
But so far the systems are so good I haven't needed to do that very often.
That's wonderful. They have been running for a little while now, so that's great that you obviously have everything you need to help you make your job so much easier.
And Marco was so obliging when he left. He left me his phone number, so sometimes I've once had to contact him about some file I couldn't find. Yeah, so
that's really good.
He left on very good terms.
He really enjoyed being in this role.
He did.
So. Okay, so that was the final question, and you have definitely covered everything in the marking guide for that.
Oh, that's
which
fantastic.
is wonderful.
I'm really happy.
So based on your answers to these questions, the assessment decision seems quite obvious. The evidence that you have provided for every one of these 7 questions meets all the marking guidelines and benchmark answers provided, which were developed in accordance with the principles of assessment. So they actually meet, where is my list here, just as a trigger? Of course it's lost. Nope, here we go. So the assessment principles are valid, reliable, flexible and fair. And so when we designed this package in the beginning, obviously those things were worked in to make sure they did. You can see that by the way in which the assessment instruments map back to the unit of competency. The evidence you have given today meets the rules of evidence in that, again, it's valid because it is all mapped appropriately and you have actually signed off on all those parts of the unit of competency and those organisational requirements needed by Charlie and Jenny. It's current because you're obviously in this position and you are working here, and you have provided working examples which we've looked through as well during the observation instrument before. It's sufficient. You have answered every single part of those questions with even more answers than were provided on the benchmark guide, so I know that you know what you are actually talking about. And then the other thing is it's authentic because I've been talking to you, so I can see these are obviously your obvious answers and they're not provided to you by someone else. We've also really dealt with a lot of dimensions of your competency. As we said, this is a AQF level 2 package, so it operates within a very defined context and quite narrow parameters with limited individual responsibility. Obviously you bring more than that to this role and you still work within that structure very well, but you definitely have demonstrated your knowledge about the task skills that you have and need for this job. Also the management skills associated with doing that and how you operate within the schedule which is set for you. You've also touched on contingency management, ways to fix problems or maybe work with developing solutions. And you've also indicated that you have a very clear understanding of your job environment, like the work environment in which you are operating in. So you've definitely covered all of those things for this assessment, and therefore I would like to say that I have deemed you competent.
Oh, thank you so much, Kate. I'm really happy.
You're very welcome. So that's for this oral questioning, which is the knowledge section of this. As I said, you also passed the performance section of this assessment tool just before. So what that means is now you are competent in the BSB ITU 213, use digital technologies to communicate remotely, and are obviously very competent at doing your job.
And the evaluation form?
Yes, I do have an evaluation form, and that is just over here. Thank you very much for reminding me.
Well, we did the last one,
yes,
so I just thought I should do this one as well.
Okay, so, well, I can leave you to do that, but I'll just say thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much.
And thanks for being on the film.
No problem.
And all of those documents, again, all your training records and the certificate of your competency in this unit will be provided to Jenny Charlie, and I'll send you a certificate.
Well, good luck with your assessment.
Thank you so much. I hope it all works out, even with capping yourself with your companion animal licking various bits of his body. Thank you so much.